Britney Spears, legend, cultural icon, inventor of music. There's truly not enough words in the English language to describe the impact this woman has had on pop culture. And beneath all the videos, performances, and personal drama is one of the greatest discographies ever produced. And today, I'm gonna rank them from worst to best. So kill the lights and hold on tight. It's time to discuss the legendary Miss Britney Spears. Number 9, Britney Jean. Released in tandem with her Las Vegas residency in 2013, Britney Jean was marketed as being her most personal record to date, and I certainly think it lives up to that, especially in its harrowing lyrics. I wanna dance till my body ache a little bit longer, turn you on, make you radiate a little bit stronger, clearly referencing her use of the dance floor as an escape from inner turmoil. You never know what you got till it's gone, lamenting the loss of her previous relationships. And who could forget, baby, make me tick, 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 boom. The layers of deep psychological exploration that could be extrapolated from this one line. And yeah, okay, no, I can't do this. Girl, personal wear. Granted, there are some moments that feel like they may have been personal to her, like the song Alien, which is actually one of my favorite Britney songs. Well, Britney song in quotes, but the album is far from personal. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't really listen to Britney for personal music. I get my own meaning from what I listen to, and if it happens to be personal to the artist, then great. But at the end of the day, I need to connect with it. In reality, Britney Jean is an album full of middle-of-the-road EDM bangers. Nothing personal here. For what it is, I actually do enjoy it a lot. The songs are fun, unserious bops. The problem is, Britney clearly was not present for this era, and who can blame her knowing what she was going through at the time? Oh, and by not present, I mean emotionally and physically, because a lot of the vocals on this are clearly not her. It's common for artists to have other people's vocals on their tracks, but it is never this flagrant. It's especially noticeable on Body Ache, Passenger, and Chillin' With You, which is a duet with Britney's own sister Jamie Lynn. Zoe was left high and dry in that recording booth. Overall, I do think Britney Jean is a fun album if you want some clubby EDM songs, but it does not even touch the rest of her discography. Number 8, Oops, I Did It Again. Britney said sophomore slump, surely not me. Her second album, 2000's Oops, I Did It Again, gave us some of the most beloved pop songs of the decade, including the title track, Stronger, and Lucky. While the singles are among her best work, the rest of the album doesn't quite live up to the same standard, but I'm in no way saying that those songs aren't also excellent, cause they are. What You See Is What You Get, Can't Make You Love Me, Don't Go Knocking on My Door, all quintessential early 2000s pop greatness. My problem with the record and why I rank it so low is its inconsistency. While some of her best songs are on here, some of her weakest are as well, like Dear Diary, Girl in the Mirror, Heart. Really, it's all the slow ballads on this album that kinda drag it down for me, but luckily they don't take up the bulk of it. Oops to me has always felt like Britney's most awkward album. It's not as blissful and bubbly as its predecessor, and obviously not as mature as her following works. That puts it in a weird space for me, and it's probably why I revisit it the least. But again, it's still fantastic. Remember, Britney at her worst is still Britney. Number 7, Baby One More Time. Britney really loved ellipses in her early days, didn't she? The record that started it all, this has to be one of the most iconic debuts of all time. The title track is one of those ubiquitous songs that everyone is just born knowing. There was no life on earth before those opening piano chords. The momentum from this song helped propel the rest of the singles to success, and they're all just about as good in my opinion, especially You Drive Me Crazy, which is one of those songs I'm just always in the mood for. While I could see why people might think the rest of the album doesn't live up to the singles, I actually think it does. It's a summery, light, carefree listen, filled with that classic late 90s cheese. I Will Be There is my personal favorite deep cut. My favorite type of song is one that you could dance to and cry to, and I Will Be There is a prime example of that. A definite comfort place song. The album as a whole is a blend of disco, R&B, and bubblegum pop, making for a record that's sweet as candy, with a little bit of that signature Britney provocativeness peeking through. While she'd go on to make even better records, Baby still holds up to this day. Number 6, Circus. Circus has been dubbed Britney's comeback record, but I'd just like to know where'd she go? She was the only name in everyone's mouth in the 2000s, so I don't think this was a comeback, just another gift bestowed upon us from the Queen. And yeah, I know people mean comeback in terms of her personal life, but the girl was still selling records, alright? And Circus just continued her streak of legendary albums. The whole era has become a staple of 2000s pop culture, especially the title track and Womanizer, which are still widely recognized and played 15 years later. In an interview about the album, Britney described Circus as being lighter than her previous record, Blackout, and that's definitely true. While Blackout was Britney's darkest era, Circus feels like the morning after, waking up with a hangover. The song Blur is literally about waking up with a hangover, so I guess that description is accurate. Circus retains the electronic, hip-hop inspired sound from her last era, only this time it has a shinier pop veneer that makes it feel sillier and more let loose, just like a circus. It also has two of her best ballads, Unusual You and Out From Under, which is actually a cover of a song from the Bratz movie soundtrack. More like unoriginal doll, if you ask me. No, but seriously, this cover is so good, and it really makes sense for Britney. Truthfully, all of her cover songs feel like they were picked very intentionally, and reading the lyrics to the song makes it clear why it was included on the album. Also, shout out to the deluxe bonus track Rock Me In. I love when the girls go rock, and Rock Me In is 2000s pop rock perfection. Number 5, Femme Fatale. This album and the next one are interchangeable for me, but I had to put them somewhere, so here we are. Femme Fatale is EDM dance Britney at her best. It is stuffed with heavy-hitting dance tracks that are reminiscent of this era of music. Hold It Against Me, the lead single, was one of the most instrumental songs in bringing both dubstep and electronic musical breakdowns into the mainstream. Femme Fatale proved once again that Britney is never content just following trends. She always brings some unexpected twist and innovation to whatever sound is popular at the time. This was the era of We Found Love, party rock anthem, Born This Way, and Britney has no problem keeping up with the newer girls, as she serves up some of the most uniquely bizarre songs in her discography. They all fit in with the time, but no one else could perform them as well as she does. How I Roll is the best example of this. My mind was scrambled when I first listened to it. I had never heard a song like it before. Its glitchy, almost video game-like sound, mixed with Britney's sweet and airy vocal performance, makes it one of the most distinct songs in her discography, but one that no one else could sing. It really feels like an early version of PC music that would gain a following later in the decade. I think this album, from start to finish, is consistently strong. Even if some of the lyrics are, questionable, the album is just such a silly good time that it's impossible to not love. Also, shout out to another rock bonus track, Don't Keep Me Waiting. The first time I heard this song, I actually thought it was a cover of like a 2004 Hilary Duff song or something, but no, with the lyrics, I'm standing outside, colder than the freezer, come out and melt my ice. Who else but Britney could have sang this? Number 4, Glory. Her most recent album, 2016's Glory, felt like such a triumph. Her last album had received the scorn of both critics and fans, and it was questionable what direction she'd go in after this. Well, when she finally arrived, it was clear. Britney's gonna do whatever the hell she wants. Britney had a lot more creative control over this album than her previous 3, and this is clear as day listening to it. I know I said the last album could be strange, but Glory takes the cake as the most eccentric and experimental Britney album. It's littered with zany sounds, quirky lyrics, and frantic energy that makes it feel more like a circus than the actual circus. In my opinion, this is Britney at her creative peak. While many people see her as a faceless pop star who's given songs to sing, this album proves she has a unique vision. And while it can be difficult to make something with mass appeal that's also kinda chaotic, all the risks she takes on this album pay off. From the multiple languages she occasionally starts speaking in, the clown-like music of Private Show, whatever the hell is happening on If I'm Dancing, this album shines for its complete irreverence alone. Britney fans know she's always been fun and quirky, before the whole I'm not like other girls movement was even a thing, and Glory is proof that she's still that silly southern girl deep down. Number 3, Britney. Alright, it might be number 3 on this list, but this is her number 1 album cover for sure. It should be hung in a museum or something. Anyways, 2001's Britney was a pivotal moment for her career. This was the first full album that truly showed Britney's confidence and fearlessness. She was not afraid to speak up for herself, as evidenced on songs like Lonely, Overprotected, and What It's Like to Be Me. The album's lead single and opening track, the iconic I'm a Slave for You, spells it out right from the beginning. I know I may be young, but I've got feelings too, and I need to do what I feel like doing, so let me go and just listen. This intro sets the tone for the rest of the album perfectly. Britney was in a transitional time in her life. She was still young, but her sudden rise to fame forced her to grow up faster than anyone should have to. This fame came with a great deal of criticism, whether it was about her lyrics, her videos, or her midriff, and Ms. Britney was not having it anymore. This album sees Britney at the most confident she'd been up to this point, making it a cathartic listen for people who feel like they're being forced to be something they're not. It also helps that there's not a single miss on the whole track listing. The only two I'm not totally crazy about are I Love Rock and Roll and I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. They're both good, but in an album as stacked as this one, they kind of blend into the background for me. The album's sound is a blend of early 2000s teen pop and R&B production from the Neptunes, and it's executed flawlessly. My personal favorite deep cut is Let Me Be, which is the song I always listen to when I need a confidence boost, or if someone's just getting on my nerves. In my opinion, this is the quintessential Britney album, and the one I'd recommend starting with to newcomers. It's the perfect bridge between her early teen pop days and her later more grown-up work. This is the album that really introduced the world to the new Britney, the Britney that's unapologetic, bold, and confident. No wonder she'd go on to judge the X Factor with Demi Lovato. Number 2, In the Zone. Alright, once again, this album and the next one are interchangeable, but if I was held at gunpoint by a crazy Britney fan asking me to name my top 2, this would be my natural ranking. In the Zone is one of those albums that's so immaculate, it doesn't even need to be described. If you've heard it, you just get it. The record blends genres such as hip-hop and electronic with Britney's signature pop sound, and the result is nothing short of magic. From the Bollywood-inspired strings of Toxic to the trancy production of Breathe On Me, this album feels like a musical journey through Britney's mind at the time. It's about going out, partying, and living it up, while also exploring themes of heartbreak and self-love. This is where she was truly not a girl anymore and fully a woman, and while her previous album was more about telling you she was mature, In the Zone is about showing you. The album runs the gamut of club, trance, Middle Eastern, hip-hop, R&B, pop, and Britney does not crack a sweat going through any of it, sounding completely and effortlessly in control the whole time. Every song has a purpose, and every song is excellent. Yes, even outrageous, which is a bop, I don't care what anyone says. This is just one of the essential listens, not just for pop fans, but for music fans in general. So, what can top it? Number 1, Pretty Girls, featuring Iggy Azalea. That's it. Just Pretty Girls. Just the song. That's number 1. Okay, I'm totally kidding. Number 1, Blackout. In my mind, Blackout and In the Zone are both number 1s, but my personal preference just leans to Blackout more. Recorded and released during a chaotic time in Britney's life, Blackout is the ultimate middle finger to everyone trying to break her spirit. Tabloids were saying she was a ditzy, irresponsible party girl, unfit to be a mother. She said, fine, let me give you the image of that reckless person you're painting me out to be, which I'm just so happening to do in one of the best pop albums, the best pop album released in the 2000s. Blackout feels like a night in the club at the end of a long work week when you just want to escape and be shamelessly yourself. It's every bit as joyous and freeing as it is dark and gritty, and that underlying tension from the relentless media criticism she faced is present throughout the whole album. She doubled down on the image that the tabloids painted her out to be, but instead of sounding angry at it, it's more like she's laughing at it. Piece of Me is an especially great example of this, with the lyrics and her deadpan delivery making it clear that she was still the one who was on top, despite literally everyone trying to drag her down. Beyond the album's commentary on fame and celebrity culture, the music itself is just perfection. This album was the blueprint for pop moving forward, with almost every major act making, or at least incorporating elements of electropop and dance music into their own music. Her use of autotune as an instrument, and not as a way to fix her vocals, was also highly influential, as autotune would be used in this way by future artists like Kesha and Lady Gaga. On Blackout, autotune makes Britney sound robotic, possibly a subtle way of pointing out the dehumanizing effects of the entertainment industry. This wasn't an attempt to fix bad vocals. This was making a point about what she had gone through and how she was perceived. Blackout is the definition of a no-skip album. There is no song that is any less than perfection. If you just put this album on shuffle, whatever comes on is bound to get you out of your seat. Give Me More, Toy Soldier, Hot as Ice, Break the Ice. Man, she really loves ice, doesn't she? All of these songs are so much fun to listen to because they let you live out that fantasy of being the person on top, laughing at anyone who's bringing you down. Blackout has been dubbed the Bible of pop for a reason, and frankly, if they played this at church instead of reading the actual Bible, I'd probably go more. I truly mean it when I say Blackout is a perfect record, and that's why it's my number 1 Britney album of all time.